Just a moment, please.
Good afternoon, madam. May we assist you?
Shut up.
Certainly we carry wedding rings. Something to match this solitaire?
Tommy, will you let me alone?
Yes, madam. You may trust us implicitly. By the way, when is the wedding?
We won't talk about that here. Tommy, why can't you be serious?
Because a pretty girl playing detective is a laugh in any language, including the Scandinavian.
But it's a good job, and Mr. Bentley promised me.
Oh, hang Mr. Bentley.
You shouldn't talk like that.
Listen, Linda, we were doing all right as long as you were a sales lady.
At $20 a week.
We were going to be married. Then Mr. Bentley decides to make you store detective.
And gives me a chance to have a career.
Most girls consider marriage a very satisfactory career.
Tommy, you're so hopelessly old-fashioned. Why can't we get married and go on with our jobs?
Because, first of all, I wouldn't want my wife working. And secondly, the only thing you could catch is a cold.
I caught you, Tommy, darling. Don't sell all the wedding rings.
Don't go, Linda.
Have to. It's time for Mr. Zero to start his show.
He's a faker.
Oh, but what a clever faker. I've been watching him every day, and I still don't know which one he is. Bye-bye, Tommy.
Captain, I can see him moving. Ah, don't be a stab. It's the waiter. I can see his hand move.
Ah, the whole thing's a fake. Nobody couldn't stand still that long.
Look, didn't that man sitting down blink his eyes?
May we assist you, madam?
I'd like to look at some diamond bracelets, please.
Certainly. Step this way, please. I must get them from the vault.
I left orders for no one to come in here.
Yes, sir. It was just clean and diamond.
Close that door and don't open it again.
Yes, sir, Mr. Zero. Yes, sir. See, natural.
They're so beautiful. I just can't make up my mind. Perhaps I'd better bring my husband in to help me decide.
We'll be very happy to show them to him.
Thank you so much for your trouble.
Not at all. Hey.
Just a minute. Pardon me. I don't think you should leave yet. Well, what do you mean? Mr. Bentley, our store superintendent would like to see you in his office. Why, this is ridiculous. I'm not in the habit of... I think you better come along. I've never been so insulted in my life. I'll have my attorney here the first thing tomorrow. You may need him before tomorrow. Are you coming?
I'll be back in a few minutes.
I never heard of her at headquarters.
Of course they haven't. I told you it was all a terrible mistake. An impulse.
Unfortunately, impulses like yours cost our store thousands of dollars every year.
I'll never do it again. I promise. If this should get in the papers, it would ruin me.
We haven't the slightest desire to harm you, madam. The incident is closed. You may go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I might as well be on my way myself. Let us know if there's anything we can do, Mr. Bentley.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Goodbye.
Now, Miss Allen, let me compliment you. While it was quite apparent that the young lady you arrested was not a professional shoplifter, it's always important to protect the store from kleptomaniacs and ambitious amateurs.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley.
The store is always being well served when its employees are alert. But you, Mr. Braddock, have disappointed me greatly.
Disappointed you?
Our employees must always be on their toes. That's what they get their salaries for. But you were so taken up with your own affairs that you allowed this woman to walk off with an article of merchandise right from under your eyes. If she were able to steal a cheap compact without your seeing it, She'd have little difficulty with something more expensive had it taken her fancy.
But I don't agree with you, sir. I make it a practice never to take my eyes from the tray while it's being shown.
Nevertheless, an article was stolen from your department, the most expensive department in the store.
But, Mr. Bentley,
Let
I
me
tell
do
you...
the talking. Mr. Walker, our jewelry buyer, is away, isn't he?
That's right.
And in his absence, you're in charge of the department.
Yes, sir.
Now get this straight, young man. I shall hold you personally responsible for any losses. That may make you more watchful. That's all.
Hear Bentley talk, you'd think I'd let that dame get away with a bracelet.
After all, you didn't see her take the compact.
And I suppose just because you did, that makes you a full-fledged detective.
At least I kept my eyes open.
Oh, come on, Linda. Forget all this.
Tommy.
Why don't you let a cop have your job here in the store?
We'll talk about that at dinner. You are taking me to dinner, aren't you?
Of course. But I'll be a little late. There's a department head meeting after the store closes, and then I'm going to check the contents of that vault. Bentley's liable to want to know the value of every piece in it, just to keep me alert.
I'll get a manicure after the store closes. I'll meet you here afterwards. You ought to be through by then.
Goodbye, Gumshoe.
Tommy, what's the matter?
Phone the police.
Mr. Bentley.
He's dead. He was hit on the head.
But who could have done it?
I don't know. Probably the same person who robbed the safe.
Oh, this is terrible.
Well, you always wanted to be a detective. Here's your case.
Tommy, they'll accuse you.
Don't be ridiculous.
Where were you after the store closed tonight?
At the department head meeting. Why?
But that's been over for an hour.
Well, I went for a walk afterwards. I had another argument with Bentley, and... Say, you don't think I did it, do you?
Of course not. But the police may have different ideas. Where did you go for a walk?
Oh, I don't know. 3rd Street, I think. I wanted to cool off.
Did you speak to anybody? Buy a paper, cigarettes, anything to prove that you weren't in the store?
No, I just walked. Stay out of this way.
Was you looking for somebody, Mr. Brother?
Where have you been for the past hour?
Cleaning up. That is most of the time.
Were you ever near that safe?
Oh, no, sir. I ain't been over there yet.
Have you seen anybody else in the store?
No, ma'am. That is, nobody alive.
You mean you saw someone dead?
Not exactly dead. Just dumbified.
Just what?
Dumbified. And I'm telling you, it just ain't natural.
What are you talking about, High Pockets?
A man can't be alive one time and a dummy next.
I wish you'd show me this dumbified person.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. In here, ma'am.
Mr. Zero's wax figures are in there.
Yes, sir, that's right. That is.
They were in exactly the same position this afternoon.
I told you he was a fake. They're all dummies.
No, sir, they ain't. That's Mr. Zero.
That's a dummy.
It wasn't this afternoon, 'cause I seen him and talked to him. And he had on them same clothes and them same opera glasses. And now he's all dumbified.
I'm going to phone the police.
Better call Mr. Whitley, too.
You fool. You silly, scatterbrained little fool. I spent 3 months working out a plan. It had no flaw. All you had to do was to ask to see some expensive jewelry so they'd open the safe.
I did.
Yes, but you didn't have to let your fingers slip.
It was a pretty little compact.
And it nearly landed you right in an officer's lap.
I got out of it, didn't I?
How do I know? Maybe you talked. Followed you here.
That isn't true. Pay me off.
Suppose I told you that you weren't just mixed up in a burglary.
What do you mean?
What if I told you there was a murder committed in that store tonight?
That's something I didn't bargain for. Give me my cut. I'm getting out of here.
Oh, no, you're not. You're staying. Permanently.
You don't know what you're saying. You can't do this. You can't do this.
With Mr. Walker out of town, you were the only one who knew the combination, weren't you?
Yes, Mr. Whitley. But I wasn't even in the store at the time. Right after the department head meeting,
Yes, I know all about that.
I'm checking every move you make, young fella.
You can't possibly accuse me of...
I wasn't accusing you of anything, but naturally the police will have to make a thorough investigation.
It's all in your hands, Sergeant. I can promise you the board of directors will authorize a suitable reward for the apprehension of the murderer. I'll have him behind the bars in 24 hours. If not sooner.
You need my help anymore, Sergeant?
Not tonight. I'm sorry I had to bother you.
Well, then I'll say good night.
Good night, Mr. Whitley.
There are a couple of things I'd like to tell you, Sergeant.
Save the advice, sister. I'm not asking help from an amateur yet.
But she has a theory.
Yeah, well, tell it to the inspector. We're wasting too much time already. Come on, young fella.
Don't you see, Inspector, how ridiculous it is to hold him? If he'd robbed the safe and murdered Mr. Bentley, he'd never have stayed there for certain arrest, would he?
If he were a clever criminal, that's exactly what he might do.
If he were a criminal, he'd have some sort of record.
Nevertheless, the fact remains that he alone knew the combination of that safe. And he'd had a quarrel with Mr. Bentley.
Inspector, Tommy Braddock is neither a thief nor a murderer.
You're engaged to much, Miss Ellen.
Yes?
Then I wouldn't expect you to say anything different. However, I'm going to release the young man on one condition.
And that is?
Your word that he stays in town till this case is completely investigated.
That's a bargain.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Release Tommy Braddock.
All right.
You won't regret this, Inspector. Good night.
Hey, what's the idea of letting that guy go?
I'm not. You're going to follow him. And the girl.
Follow him.
I think they each know a little more than they've told us. You stick to their trail and report back here every hour. Understand?
Sure, I get it.
You don't suppose the dummy robbed the safe and murdered Bentley, do you?
Maybe.
Right, girl.
Tommy, do you remember what High Pocket said about this dummy?
Something about it being Mr. Zero.
He said when he came into the show window this afternoon, Mr. Zero was this one. Binoculars, cap, and everything.
Amazing.
But obviously a dummy's taken his place.
I believe in the best police circles that's known as a deduction.
Tommy, be serious. Why didn't Mr. Zero want anyone to know that he was playing the part of the yacht owner?
Probably professional vanity. He didn't want his identity discovered.
I don't think that was it.
What are you getting at?
Just this. I know who robbed the safe and murdered Mr. Bentley.
You what?
It was Mr. Zero.
Mr. Zero?
He made his plans very carefully and carried them out to the letter. But as always happens, he forgot one important thing and left a clue.
What clue?
Just these.
A pair of binoculars.
Bright boy. Mr. Zero played the part of the owner, the man with the binoculars. And he stood just where this dummy is now standing and looked off there
Part of painted backdrop.
with 3 holes in it.
What?
See those 3 windows? They're cut out. And back of them. Come here. of those window holes in the boat are these in the back of the show window.
They're for ventilation.
Right. Come on in again. Now let's see those binoculars again. Tommy, can you move that dummy? Now look.
Why, you could look into the store.
And what do you see?
The safe.
Does it make sense now, Tommy dear?
He could see the front of the safe and the jewelry department. And if he hadn't the compass to get me to open the safe, he could read the combination as I turned.
The shoplifter was his accomplice.
Let's get the police on the phone right away.
No, wait. Mr. Zero doesn't know his carefully laid plans have caught up with him. But if the police appear on the scene, he'll know he's suspected and we'll never be able to pin anything on him. We've got to get there first, and maybe we can trick him into a confession.
But we don't even know where he is.
I'll call Mr. Bentley's secretary. She'll have his address. Give me a nickel, Tommy. Ella, I want some information about Mr. Zero. How much longer has his contract to run with the store? This was his last day.
Where does he live?
Where does he live, Ella? Well, there must be some address to go in his contract. A waxwork? Where? Oh, I see. All right, thank you, Ella. I'll see you tomorrow.
What'd she say?
She said he had a waxworks on Main Street. He makes all his models himself.
You think he'll be there at this time of night?
I don't know, but we can find out. Here we are.
We should have notified the police.
And spoil everything? Think how surprised they'll be when we catch Mr. Zero.
Yes, and think how surprised we'll be if Mr. Zero catches us. There's a light in the window.
Come on.
It's barred on the inside.
Let's see what's in back. Let's try the window.
How are we going to get up to it?
Who's there?
You would think of that. Say, you know, I can't hold you up here all night.
Just ring the bell.
Suspicion of murder, withholding information from the police, and now illegal entry. We're really getting somewhere.
Hold still and I will get somewhere. Tommy, come on in.
Shall I use my wings?
Jump.
Hey, Linda. All right.
Over here. Be quiet. Something moving. Over there. Have you got a revolver, Tommy?
Of course not. Don't you think we ought to get out of here?
No. Strike a match.
I haven't any.
Fire.
You got me, pal. Look out!
Tommy, are you all right?
I don't know.
Did you see him move?
He can't. He's a dummy.
This one isn't.
It's all right. We're just a rat. It's cold.
A rat?
Those things never bothered Sherlock Holmes.
Tommy, where are you? Tommy, where are you? Tommy!
Tell you, the place is full of gangsters. Send the reserves and send them quick. Yeah, yeah.
Tommy!
They're late. Any trouble getting the truck?
No, it was a cinch, but we had to wait till they left the garage.
All right. Sure you know the spot?
Yeah. You marked it careful enough.
Let's get busy. I don't want any slip-ups now. Who pushed me?
No one pushed you. You fell down those stairs. Tommy, we've got to get out of here.
See you later, men.
Right.
Western Cemetery. Can't get out this way. We'll have to try the steps. It's our only chance.
Now be careful. We're here.
The back way. You went through the window.
In there, you two. Come on. Cover every side of the building.
Okay.
Get this door open.
It's the police, all right. They must have traced us somehow.
All right, boys. Search every corner.
So these here gangsters, huh? A lot of stuffed dummies. Would a dummy be giving me that? Look at that. Well, so it's you, huh?
And if you think we're not glad to see you, you're crazy.
Did you get Mr. Zero?
Mr. Who?
Mr. Zero, the man who pulled in the show window at the store. He murdered Mr. Bentley and robbed the safe.
Well, where'd you get this information?
Tonight, we traced him here. The shoplifter was his confederate. She got Tommy to open the safe, and Mr. Zero watched through a pair of field glasses and read the combination.
Unfortunately, Mr. Bentley must have surprised him at the safe.
All right, boys. Go through this building with a fine-tooth comb.
By the way, Inspector, what brought you here?
I had a man tailing you. He turned in the alarm. If you'd gotten in touch with us before you came here, we probably had this murder under lock and key by now.
Well, Miss Hawkshaw, you must admit I tried to get you to inform the police.
If I had, they'd have come up with their sirens wide open, and he'd have gotten away anyhow.
Just the same, Miss Allen, things wouldn't have gotten out of hand if you'd taken the police into your confidence.
I'm sorry, Inspector.
Well, you can both thank your lucky stars. I sent this half-wit Kelly to tell you. He thought this place was full of gangsters.
Well, just the same, somebody hit me over the head.
You sure you didn't do it to yourself? Say, on the level, Kelly, did you actually see any human beings at all?
Sure, those two guys in the truck.
What truck?
When I came out of the alley, it almost ran over me.
Is this some more of your imagination?
Wait a minute. We saw that truck through the basement window. I'd forgotten about it.
It was in the alley. It was a cemetery truck.
A what?
A cemetery truck.
Say, what in the
I
world?
wonder if he could have...
You wonder if he could have what?
I think I know where the stolen jewels are. Inspector, where is the Western Cemetery?
Gate of town, Adams Street. Why?
We've got to get there quick.
But why?
I'll explain later. Let's get going.
All right, come on, man. Come on. Well, sounds like a goofy idea to me, but maybe you're right.
We gotta hurry. It'll be daylight in another hour.
What do you want?
Any gravediggers working here tonight?
Gravediggers don't work at night.
Was there a body brought here during the last hour?
Why, it's after midnight.
I know what time it is. Where is your cemetery truck kept?
Why,
Listen, you better speak up if you don't want to spend the rest of the night in jail.
Say, this is very irregular. You got no business coming here questioning me.
Inspector.
I just saw a couple of fellows filling in a grave.
You know anything about this?
No, but I'm going to find out.
Come on, Kelly. And this time, I hope you're not seeing dummies. Don't shoot unless you have to. I want to make these guys talk. Take a couple of men, get around that side. A few of you surround them on that side. Drop those shovels and reach. All right, boys, close it on.
You got nothing on us. We're working here.
You know this man?
Never saw him before in my life.
All right, boys, take him away.
Come on, out. There's only a few inches of dirt. I think we can get it out.
All right, get those ropes round each end. Still want to be a detective?
I don't know.
Now give me that pick. Get hold of that, boy.
The body of the shoplifter.
Take it away, boys.
The stolen jewels. He hid them in the coffin.
Get the car! Come on.
Of course, it's splendid the jewels were recovered, and I'll see that Miss Allen and Mr. Braddock are rewarded. But what about the murderer?
He seems to have vanished into thin air.
It doesn't seem possible.
But I want to warn everybody concerned that he'll make an effort to strike again.
The man is mentally unbalanced.
We certainly have proof of that.
That makes it all the more difficult to get him. That kink in his brain will make him doubly cautious, sly as a fox. He probably planned for months to rob your safe, Mr. Whitley. This man's a killer, and his venom is now directed against these two young people who outguessed and exposed him.
And that might laughingly be called a very pleasant future for us.
What do you think we should do about it, Inspector?
I've already assigned a squad of men under Sergeant Kelly to guard you.
I have a better idea. You see, Miss Allen and I are expecting to get married. Right now ought to be the best time in the year for a honeymoon on the other side of the continent.
Sorry, I can't agree with you. You'd be much safer here where we can watch you. Unless, of course, you want to enlist the aid of the police in every city you visit.
I guess you're right.
We're bound to find some trace of him in the next few days.
If you don't, there won't be any need of a honeymoon anyway. Good going, Inspector. And goodbye.
Kelly.
Hello, Tony.
If this keeps up much longer, I'll get as crazy as Mr. Zero. Everywhere I look, I see O'Hara's plainclothesmen. They're getting in my hair.
But wouldn't you rather see them than Mr. Zero?
Even he'd be a change.
But not particularly for the better.
And to think we may have to spend the rest of our lives with detectives sitting across the breakfast table from us, escorting us to the movies and putting us to bed at night.
Anyway, we're still alive.
So's a goldfish in a bowl. And we have just about as much privacy. With all the professions you had to choose from, why did you have to be a detective?
If I hadn't been, you might still be in jail accused of murdering Mr. Bentley.
Just the same, I'm all fed up on criminals and police. I'll lay even money Mr. Zero's hundreds of miles from here. Come on, Linda, just this once. We conduct with the employees' interests and give these flat feet the slip.
But Inspector O'Hara made us promise.
Oh, hang Inspector O'Hara. Can't we at least have lunch together without an official escort?
We used to have lunch together every day, didn't we?
We could go to that same little place. Sit in a booth and no one would see us.
No, I don't think we should. Too dangerous.
All right, you stay here. But I'm going to walk through that door like a free man again. Sally, watch the counter. I'm going to lunch.
Tommy, please.
I'm going.
All right, then. I guess I'll have to go, too. I'll meet you at the employees' entrance in 10 minutes.
Good girl. It'll be like escaping from prison.
When those dicks find out they've lost us, they'll probably slit their own throats.
If they don't, Inspector O'Hara will.
You know, I haven't had a chance to make love to you for weeks.
We haven't been alone much, have we?
That's going to be changed from now on. I think people would be more careful than that.
I suppose maybe it wasn't an accident?
You mean Mr. Zero?
Let's call Inspector O'Hara right away.
Inspector O'Hara. What? Where? Be there in 5 minutes. I've thrown a dragnet around the whole district. Come on, we'll see if this was an accident or just another little present from our friend Mr. Zero.
I tell you, no one's lived here for 3 weeks. The apartment's empty.
Do you know whether or not your last tenants left a flower box in this windowsill?
I never noticed one.
I'm inclined to think it was just a freak accident.
Wait a minute. That was no accident.
How do you know that?
If there had been a box on that windowsill for several weeks, there'd be a ring of dust around it, wouldn't there?
Possibly, but...
Well, there isn't. Somebody brought that box in here, dropped it out the window, and hoped it would appear like an accident. Which only goes to prove that if you'd followed instructions, stayed close to your guard, this thing wouldn't have happened.
I guess you're right, Inspector, but we were so fed up with detectives.
Young man, you don't seem to realize you're not only dealing with a clever criminal, but a maniac. You can't afford to take chances like this.
But how could he know we'd pass along the street?
Ever do it before?
Well, we always used to go to lunch just about a block away from here.
Always past this building on the way to lunch?
It's the shortest route.
Well, evidently, Mr. Zero knew that, too, and waited for you to make a break without your police escort.
All I can say is I wish you'd hurry up and catch him.
God, the boy and the girl they let walk right out of the store, they...
Well, it would appear that you're a trifle late, Mr. Kelly.
He...
You let him get away from me, didn't you, when you had special instructions to follow them?
I turned my back for a
Now,
minute.
listen to me, Kelly. You let these young people get as much as 5 feet away from you again, I'll send you back to ranks.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Breakfast at 7 in the morning, Kelly.
Yeah, who?
I have recalled every man from the reserve list to active duty. They'll report at your stations tonight at 6 o'clock. From now on, I want action. I want each one of you to see that every house in your district is searched. I don't care how much opposition you encounter. Get search warrants if you have to, but you go through every basement, loft, and garage. I'm tired of taking excuses. From now on, I'm taking badges. The man's not invisible. He's bound to be hiding somewhere. It's your job to find him. That's all. This must be a very nerve-wracking ordeal for you two.
Of course, I don't like to complain, Inspector. But I wish you'd have someone sleep outside my door who doesn't snore.
I never closed my eyes all night.
Well, see that you don't. Well, by the way, beginning tomorrow morning, there'll be a taxi cab around to pick up you two and take you to work.
Just when I was beginning to enjoy riding in a police car.
Well, I figured a cab might accomplish something.
Yeah, about $2 worth from my apartment to the store.
The department will take care of that. Now, with a police car following the cab, it's quite possible our friend Mr. Zero may come out of hiding. You see, riding with the police makes it dangerous for the murderer to appear. If he sees you alone in the cab, he may try to follow you.
And that's just what the carload of trailing policemen would want.
Exactly.
And get this over quicker. I'm for it.
Aren't we all?
Yes?
Miss Allen, the cab's waiting.
I'll be right down.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello, Kelly. Sleep well last night?
I never closed my eyes all night.
Cheer up. It won't be long now. Good morning, Linda.
I hope I didn't keep you waiting.
You know, somehow I never seem to mind waiting for you. Go ahead, driver.
I think I like the other arrangement better.
Relax, Linda. Kelly's in the car following.
I can't help feeling nervous.
We're safe enough in here. Say, these cabs have every convenience, haven't they? Oh, the radio.
Now, if we only had a bar in here, we'd have all the comfort you know.
What's that? You sure? Bring him down to headquarters. We'll take your statement. Stand by for police broadcast. Warn every commercial station to pick it up and rebroadcast. We need their cooperation. Yes, Mr. Zero, he struck again.
At the request of the police department, this program is being interrupted to announce that half an hour ago, Mr. Zero attacked the driver of a taxi cab. Anyone seeing this cab is asked to report it to the nearest police station.
Look, in the mirror.
Mr. Zero.
I'll stay with this cab. Hey, are you all right in there? Sure. We just do this every day for exercise. Hey, you're lucky you weren't killed. That was Mr. Zero driving that other car. You're telling us.
You know, when we were kids playing hide and seek and couldn't find anyone, we always yelled, come out, wherever you are. Why not try that? I think Miss Allen's due to come up with another brilliant idea.
Well, once, Tommy, you're right. I am.
It's just occurred to her, Inspector, that probably Mr. Zero is now posing as a figure in the fountain in front of the building.
Go on, Miss Hunter.
Inspector, you had the key to this when you said Mr. Zero had been watching our habits, knew the routine of our daily life. You said that was why he was able to hide in the empty apartment, knowing that Tommy and I would pass on our way to lunch.
Yes?
Well, that's the way to catch him.
I don't follow your line of reasoning.
Well, if Mr. Zero knew that we passed that apartment house, he also knows that on Sunday we go out to the Forest Lake Inn for dinner.
Yes, I knew that myself. I've had men covering it for days.
Well, that's just it. With an army of plainclothes men following, he's had to wait for an opportunity to get us.
So we send the plainclothesmen away and make it easy for him.
What I mean is, we ought to give him a chance. Set a trap.
Uh-huh. And we'll be the cheese.
The road to the Forest Lake Inn is pretty free of traffic on Sunday. It isn't a weekend resort, and there aren't many people near it. So that's the natural place for him to make his next attempt on our lives.
How do you propose to get him to do this?
We'll let him think we've taken away the police guard. Only in reality, we put such a close guard around the trap that we'll be able to grab him when he shows up.
Look, Linda, we're on the 3rd floor, and here's a window. Why don't we just jump out? Maybe a little messy, but just as certain.
Don't you see, Tommy? We'll have an officer with a machine gun hiding in the back of the car.
For once, I've got to hand it to my little pal. She has an idea.
That's the most sensible plan I've heard yet. Suppose we go just a step further. In addition to the armed guard in the car, there will be police cars following you.
But how will they know when we need them?
They'll be in constant communication by radio.
It does sound like our best chance to get him.
And it also sounds like the best chance he's had to get us.
This entire section is staked out. Here is the farmhouse headquarters of the radio. I'll be there. Wherever you see these crosses, a police car is staked out. The automobile will be about a quarter of a mile behind you. From these other roads, other automobiles will be closing in, and the whole cavalcade moving about 30 miles an hour. In case Mr. Zero does strike, it'll only be a matter of a few seconds until he finds himself surrounded by a small army. Armed and in direct contact with radio.
I don't see how we can miss.
If he's anywhere in this district between the city line and Forest Lake, he'll have to be a magician to slip through our lines.
We've come 4 5/10 miles, passing Craig's Woods, speed 30 miles an hour. Nothing to report yet. We passed 2 cars, nothing hidden.
Tell them to stand by.
Stand by. Keep your set open.
Here's where they are.
Have each man on the stakeout report.
Calling stakeout number 1.
Number 1 reporting. Okay.
Number 2 reporting. Okay.
Number 3 reporting. Okay.
Car number 4 reporting. Okay.
Number 5 reporting. Okay.
If he gets away from this army, he's good.
He ain't got a chance with me here.
What more could we ask? If Mr. Zero doesn't shoot us, Kelly probably will.
We're passing Grant Farm. I'm going to call again.
By the way, Sergeant, don't you think it'd be a good idea for you to get back out of sight?
I was just going to.
We're passing Grant Farm. Mileage 6 2/10. Speed 30 miles an hour. Coming to Horseshoe Bend.
Tell him message okay. Don't worry.
We have your message. Everything okay. Don't worry.
It's only 2 miles further. Maybe he won't show up after all.
Someone called the hotel and asked if we'd be there today.
That's right.
We passed Horseshoe Bend. Nothing in sight. Mileage 7 5/10. Speed 30 miles an hour. We're coming to Jackson's Grove. There's a man chopping weeds beside the road. It's Mr. Zero.
Jackson's Grove.
Go to Jackson's Grove at once.
How about a statement, Braddock?
Yes, how about it?
All right, fellas. You can say Miss Allen is retiring to devote all her attention to her husband.
That's a great idea.
Anything else, fellas?
Yeah, the picture.
Go ahead.
Now, how about a little action in this one?
How's this?
Grab one of them for me, Ronnie.